Alright, fellow truckers and truckers, time to take a look at the penultimate episode of the day, which is Favor the Bold. Somewhere in space, the USS Defiant is venting plasma. Her weapons are offline and her shields at 30%. Two Dominion ships approach and attack. The Klingon bridge cloaks and destroys one of the Jem'Hadar ships. The Defiant brings his weapons online and destroys the other. The Klingon ship is the outcast Rotaran. The Rotaran and the Defiant have been playing this game for a while. Just as they receive new orders from Starfleet to fall back, the crew complains that it seems that all they've been doing lately is retreating. Gordon Chief O'Brien's Engage Retreat is playing the Federation's favorite tune. Julian Bashir adds on that they might end up singing Hail the Conquering Dominion. Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax, captaining the Defiant, and her fiancé, Lieutenant Commander Worf, captaining the Rotaran, agreed to meet at Starbase 375. Once there, Dax, echoing crew sentiments, confronts Captain Benjamin Sisko about Starfleet's strategy in his office, which left morale so low that even the Klingons had begun to doubt the certainty of victory. When Sisko tells Dax that he's in complete agreement, she promptly tells him to do something about it, which point he already has, and reveals his plan to retake Deep Space Nine. The next day, Sisko describes his plan to Admiral Sitek and Kobum. Elements from the 2nd, 5th, and 9th Fleets will be peeled off the front lines to send to retake Deep Space Nine. Admiral Sitek tells Sisko that the Dominion will send a large fleet to stop them, but Sisko counters that it will slow their advance into Federation territory. Admiral Kobum objects that the plan leaves Earth extremely vulnerable. Admiral William Ross responds that the 3rd Fleet will still be there to protect Earth. Kobum still isn't convinced, but Sisko states confidently that the Dominion will not attack Earth because Earth isn't the key to the Alpha Quadrant, the wormhole is. And whoever controls Deep Space Nine controls the wormhole. On Terra Nor, the Dominion/Cardassian name for Deep Space Nine, Quark and Major Kira Nerys attempt to see Odo about releasing Rom from his Dominion holding cell. But Odo's quarters are guarded by Bajoran and Jem'Hadar security, and Odo won't see anyone. The Bajoran informs him that Odo has been with the female changeling for 3 days. Quark starts to fight with the Jem'Hadar guard, and Major Kira breaks it up. The Bajoran deputy tells them it would be best if they left, and promises to Odo that they were there. Inside, the female changeling Odo sit back to back, fully clothed up inside of an only slightly rumpled bed. They are discussing sex in the manner of solids. The female changeling thanks Odo for giving her a new insight, observing that the solid version intimacy pales in comparison to the changeling's linking. It's just Odo's previous experiences with sex. The female changeling guesses that Odo regrets not having had it with Kira, but Odo doesn't want to talk about Kira. He says that he has a ruling council meeting to attend. The female changeling says that meeting took place 3 days ago. Odo is shocked at the passage of time. The female changeling tells him not to worry anymore about the solid's meetings and schedules. We're changelings. They're timeless. They link. Odo, you gotta start doing that, man. Anyway, Kira next goes to see Wayne about Rom. He's in the wardroom examining a gift given by Gul Dukat, a prize-winning painting on Cardassia by Dukat's daughter, Torzial. But his founders made the wardrobe without a sense of aesthetics. William cannot appreciate it and insists on asking Kira if it is any good. Then, William tells Kira that the Dominion is planning to execute Rom and charges terrorism for attempting to sabotage the Dominion's move to bring down the minefield. He also knows that Rom is the diabolical genius who came up with the self-replicating mines in the first place. Seeing that William won't be of any help, Kira threatens to involve the Bajoran government, says Rom is married to a Bajoran citizen, but Bayun is unimpressed. I does so say he won't consider her to be a co-conspirator. Rom and his wife Lita and his brother Quark discuss Rom's future, or lack of one, from his Dominion holding cell. After Rom shoots down the possibility that the Bajoran government can arrange his release, on the Grand Nagus that can buy his freedom from the Dominion, Quark pledges to do whatever it takes to get him out. But Rom is much interested in having Quark take out the anti-graviton beam to finish what Rom started. Quark protests at first, but because he doesn't want to die, but he knows that he has no choice. As Rom tells him, the fate of the entire Alpha Quadrant is now in Quark's hands. Kira next appeals to Ziel to see her father Dukat about Rom. Cial goes to Dukat, but says he can't do anything. Cial appeals to his vanity. This is Dukat's opportunity to show the people of Bajor, especially Major Kira, what a forgiving, compassionate, great man he is. Dukat briefly suspects that Cial was involved in the attempted sabotage. Cial says Dukat truly regrets the contested occupation of Bajor, and this is his chance to prove it to everyone, including her. He again refuses, as Ram is now an enemy of the state, and Cial, angry, says that Dukat is a true Cardassian. She storms out. In Quark's, Kira and Quark finish a discussion about a possible scheme to free Rom. Quark starts bringing Nausicaans aboard the station, breaking his brother out of his holding cell and making a fast getaway. Kira quickly shoots down that idea, telling Quark freeing Rom is going to take precise planning and things that could get out of control with Nausicaans. Think I get my money back? Quark asks. At the bar, Damar's feeling quite pleased with himself. Finding Kira at the bar, he orders her to prepare to receive a freighter and takes her seat. When she reluctantly leaves, he objects to her attitude. Kira responds he's welcome to try and change it. Damar tells Quark that his field testing of the graviton beam were successful and deactivation of the mines has already begun. Quark asks how long it'll take and is horrified to find out that the minefield will be ready to be destroyed within the week. On Starbase 375, Drew Martok tells Sisko and Admiral Ross that Klingon Chancellor Gowron doesn't like Sisko's plan. Gowron is concerned that they will leave the Klingon Empire exposed to Dominion attack. Martok and Worf agree to see Gowron in person to convince him that the plan is worth it. As Martok says, if Gowron's most trusted ally and his worst enemy tell him the same thing, he will have no choice but to agree. Quark tells Kira about Damar's estimate that the minefield will be done in a week, and suggests letting Odo know in case he can help. Kira reminds him that they can't get to Odo and feels certain he wouldn't help even if he were asked. Therefore, they have to find a way to warn Starfleet. However, no one has a clue on how to actually do that. Jake Larson tells the two that he's able to get a message out to his father thanks to a courier, Morn, who's going away for his mother's birthday. Those should be hidden on a ribbon that is used to tie her present. Sisko receives the message, letting him and Admiral Ross know the minefield will be done in 3 days. One day less than it will take for the Ninth Fleet and the Klingons to arrive and join Sisko's task force. Sisko says they have no choice but to launch the operation immediately, even if not enough ships survive to retake the station. They have a slender hope to destroy the graviton emitter and keeping the minefield intact. After a moment's pause, Ross agrees. Knowing that the Dominion's reinforcements are allowed to come through the wormhole, then all is lost. In the wardroom, Takatomi observed the slow but steady deactivation of the mines. As a graviton beam strikes the mine, a brief flash is visible as the replication unit fails. Beam comments that he's unable to see them, as the Vort have very poor eyesight. Be sure Dukat that he will most certainly see the final destruction of the minefield. Damar enters with the latest movement of the Federation fleet. The 2nd and 5th fleets have disengaged from the Cortana system and Vulcan border respectively and have converged to Starbase 375. But they don't know what the Federation is up to. Moon demands an answer to this and leaves. Dukat then asks Damar to talk to Cial to convince her to talk to Dukat again. Damar, looking uncomfortable, tries to back out, but Dukat says that it is important to him, so Damar agrees. In a cargo bay, Damar confronts Cial, who is speaking with Kira. Damar tries to convince her to come with him, but to no avail. He explains that Dukat knows their alliance with the Dominion is a dangerous one, and thus cannot afford to show weakness. When he still refuses her, he grabs her. Kira objects and knocks Damar unconscious. Cial is shocked. On Starbase 375, Ross stops by Sisko's office to see him off and wish him good luck. Sisko's reviewing ancient Bajoran texts, and the two discuss Bajor. Ross comments that he hears that it's nice. Sisko tells him that hardly serves Bajor's beauty, but talks eloquently of some of the planet's natural wonders. Ross assures Sisko that he's convinced and notes the captain will have a hard time say goodbye when his mission ends, and Bajor is welcomed into the Federation. Sisko responds that he has no intention of saying goodbye, and he intends to build a house on Bajor. Although he will go wherever Starfleet assigns him, Bajor is where he'll return to when it's time to go home. On the Defiant, Knock comes to O'Brien and shows him the uniform he's wearing as he's been promoted to ensign. He then thanks O'Brien for his help as he learned a lot from him, not just about engineering, but also what it takes to be a good soldier. O'Brien then wears knock, not till the new uniform go to his head, as he still has yet a lot to learn, which he will. And then congratulates Nog and tells him to wear the uniform of pride, which Nog intends to. Cisco arrives on the bridge and Dax gives command to the Defiant back to him. The fleet departs for Deep Space Nine. Back on Terra Nor, Dukat tells Wien that the Federation fleet is on the move and headed towards the station. Wien isn't concerned, as he's sure the Dominion will crush them. They arrange to have ships taken off the front lines and repositioned at Terra Nor. Once the wormholes reopened, there will be more than enough ships to take their place. Dora enters with his face bruised, demanding that Major Kira be arrested for assault. He tries to explain what happened with Zial to Dukat, but Wien overhears their conversation. The word is more eyesight is compensated by excellent hearing, showing the family squabbles can wait until the enemy has been crushed. He reminds Dukat of their immediate priorities and is told that enough ships will be redeployed to halt the Federation fleet. Wheel leaves to inform the female changeling. While Damar is shocked that the Federation is making a move against them, Dukat demands to know exactly what happened between him and Kira. Elsewhere on the station, Odo and the female changeling are observing the solids from the upper deck of the promenade. Odo pities the limits of the solids, but the female changeling states that the founders must guide the solids, not pity them. The female changeling says that the solids must be broken of their love for freedom for their own good. Odo is taken aback. His eyes begin to open again to what the founders really are. He leaves as Wayne interrupts. Odo spots Kira chases her down. He tries to explain that he's been occupied. Kira says she knows. When he's been occupied, the minefield's coming down, the Federation is about to lose the war, and Roman's been sentenced to death. He tries to apologize, but Kira won't have it. She says, "We are way past sorry." The Federation Task Force, armored to DS-9, detects 1,254 Dominion ships ahead. The Federation is outnumbered 2-1. On the Defiance Bridge, everyone is quiet. Cisco breaks the silence by activating the comm system and ordering the fleet into Delta 2 attack formation. He recalls the old saying, "Fortune favors the bold," and comments that they are about to find out if that's true. So let's take a look at some background information from this episode. The title of this episode is a paraphrase from a line from the narrative poem of the Aeneid, written by Virgil in ancient Rome. The poem is a sequel to Iliad by Homer and describes how the wanderings of the Trojan soldier Aeneas bring him to Italy, and ultimately to lay the foundation of Rome itself. The actual quote, as spoken by Cisco in this episode, is "Fortune favors the bold," "Audentes fortuna iuvat," and is found in Book 10, line 294 of the poem. The phrase will show up again in Star Trek Enterprise as the motto of the Columbia NX-02, Earth's second warp-5 vessel, captained by Hernandez. Cisco's Yoruba mask, introduced in Search Part 1, is seen hanging on a wall in his office during his briefing with Admiral Sitak in Cobham. Gypsy Kirk utters a similar line in Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, "May fortune favor the foolish," before launching HMS Bounty on a time warp. In the novelization, Spock catches the reference shortly before the ship's warp drive is engaged. This episode begins the life based on 1961 J. Lee Thompson film The Guns of Navarone, a film about a mission behind enemy lines to destroy a German weapons depot. Originally, the plot of this episode was to involve a covert mission to destroy Ketcher's Life facility deep in Cardassian space. However, during their stage of rewrites, that mission was relocated to A Time to Stand, and Favor of the Bold was reformulated. Cisco's passion to speak to Admiral Ross about the beauties of Bajor indicates the first time that he has openly revealed his love for the planet. However, it is not the first time he has spoken passionately about Bajor. In the third season episode Search Part 1, Cisco vehemently declares that he will not allow Bajor to fall at the hands of the Dominion. Dax comments in that episode that she hasn't seen him so passionate about anything since Jennifer died. His plan to live there, however, represents a new stage in his affection for the planet. He puts his plan to action in the 7th season episode Penumbra, where he designs a model for the house and purchases land in the Kendra province on which he began building. The above scene was added at the last minute when the episode was running short. Ronald G. Moore stated, quote, "Cisco's desire to build a home on Bajor was something we were talking about within the writing staff for quite some time, end quote. In this episode, Nog is promoted to ensign. Supposedly, the USS Centaurus, the very recent starship built by Adam Buckner, was filmed for this episode. The ship was positioned in the background shots of Starbase. The ship was positioned in the background in shots of Starbase 375. Admiral Copeland's character is similar to James Coburn's character in the film Midway, where his character tells Chester W. Nimitz not to go through with his plan of attack because it will leave Hawaii open to attack. Oh, did not know that. So far, this episode is very good, and yeah, I'm feeling that things might. So yeah, of course, I'm feeling things might go well for the good guys in the next episode and bad for the bad guys, but we'll see what happens. So yeah. So overall, I give Favor the Bold 5 warp cores out of 5. When we tune in as we take a final episode of the day, Sacrifice of Angels. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.